who turned around and gave over as if he wanted to smoke. But now that we talking about that homosexual act that they did in that group, what are they doing? He brought his gay ass back over on his time, didn't he? He can't address this. You understand? Who did it again? The Courier and Press also reported that George Lewis, using the name that now been Israel, has been connected. He was connected with who? With the Israel, with the what? With the Israel, with the what? With the Israel united in Christ. Now what you gonna say about that? Now them sisters gotta pack up and leave. You better not move. You better not move. You better not move. I got police. You better not move. You better not move. Stand still, bro. Stand your ass still. Stand your ass still, bro. I got police. Oh, shit. You better not move. You got him checked. Police. Man, I knew that was coming. Get off my stomach, man. Calm down, baby. Nigga, I'm calm. Get the fuck off my stomach. Make sure you can breathe on. You see I'm not going to break. You on the dick. All else closed. You all you want to do that's a video. I'm not gonna do with this. Sorry, brother. Got nothing to do with this. Hey, don't lean on that chest. Don't put pressure on the shoulder. Just put hands off, please. Stay there.
Shalom. Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Mahawah Kachodash, Yahweh, which is the one and only true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one and only true name is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, because those are the men who I've learned this truth from, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much Elder Karataza of GMS Las Vegas, I was watching this earlier, and he showed a clip of two Israelite groups. Now one was IUIC, and the other one, I believe it looked like it's ISUPK. I'm not sure. Brothers of elders, if I'm wrong, correct me, Salakia. But it looked like it was IUIC and ISUPK on the same corner. Now, both groups teach different doctrines. All right, because you have IUIC, they teach not to call upon the name of the Lord and make it a doctrine, which they say Christ. Right, and then you have ISUPK, they have their doctrine, and they, both of these groups basically, they didn't follow as what the scriptures instructs us to do. When you go out there teaching at camp, All right, you gotta be spiritual minded when you're out there, man. All right, you can't be out there being carnal. And we're gonna get some scriptures. When you go out there to teach, you gotta realize and understand that there is sheep that are tuning in to your videos. They're watching you. You got believers watching you. You have to be that example. You can't be going out there fighting and doing all those things. All right, if a Jake, let's say you teaching out there on a street corner, you have a particular location where you're teaching at, and you've been teaching there for some years, and then all of a sudden, one day you go by where you've been teaching at, and then you see another group teaching on your corner. All right, you are to speak with them. Let them know, like, hey, this is where we teach at, and we've been teaching here for a while. Now, if that group or that individual try to buck up against you and say they've been teaching there for a while and they're not going to move, then just pack your stuff up and go to a different location. Because fighting over a corner is going to put you in a bad situation. As you can see right there, that makes the truth look bad, man. All right, that makes the truth look bad. And, the guy in the shirt, the red shirt, it looks like, it looked like the IUIC dude was trying to move the chair a little bit, I guess, to get some space. It looked like he was trying to put some space in between the chair, which he should have spoke with them first and just said, look, can you move this chair over a little bit? I'm just going to move this chair. Is that okay? He didn't even do that. He just up and just moved his chair. But the other individual is wrong as well, because he didn't go over there and validate what he was doing. He should have said, man, what are you doing? Get information first. But no, he just automatically just jumped into conclusion and actually punched the guy. And this is why, again, you got to leave your emotions at the door when you out there teaching, man. Salakia for the rambling. This is 1 Corinthians 14:40. Let all things be done decently and in order. See, so you're supposed to let all things be done decently and in order, man. When you out there teaching, you are to let all things be done decently and in order, man. All right? You got to let all things be done decently in order. You can't be out there, trying to fight and, trying to punch people. Nah, you can't be doing that. There's a way to deal with or handle certain situations in a ministry. You have to do that, man. You can't just go out there and just punch this individual or go out there and just start a fight because of certain situations. There's ways to adjust things. All right? That's why the scriptures say examine yourself. Each step you make, you are to watch what you are doing. And that was carnality. Both groups let their emotions get in the way, but it mainly falls on the group, the guy with the red shirt. It mainly falls on them because he went and threw the punch. You just gonna go and just start punching people. You don't know what's going on, And then when you made the first punch, and then the brother attacks you, now the other three brothers, they were off course because they were focused on teaching. They just see you getting attacked, so they not realizing what's going on. And they jump into to defend you when you the one that threw the first punch. Now everything is messed up. Now all three of them guys or four of them guys probably got locked up. Now you got law enforcement involved. There's a lot of things. All that could have been avoided. 1 Timothy 4:12, it says, let no man despise thy youth. Be thou an example of the believers. You are to be an example of the believers when you're out there teaching. That includes your lessons. That includes you going out at camp, right? That includes the doctrine, right? That includes your spiritual walk, how you are as a particular individual in this truth. It falls in line with a lot of things. When it says, be thou an example to the believers, your carnality behavior, right? You're supposed to leave your emotions at the door. That's the whole point of what? Examining, right? It says in word. See, in word, how you bring out the truth. How you speak it. In conversation, how you deal with individuals. How you deal with brothers in the truth, right? Or how you deal with the adversary. The scriptures say agree with thy adversary quickly. How you adjust things. There's ways on how to do things in the truth. in charity, right? Being charitable. In spirit, how you do your walk in this thing. In faith, and in purity. So all these things that are up here, you have to be an example to the believers. You have people watching you. You have jakes following you. You have sheep tuning in and looking at you on camera. You guys got to really examine and be careful what you do out there when you're teaching. And I'm speaking for myself first and foremost. Galatians 5:25. If we live in the Spirit, if we live in the Spirit, if you live in the Spirit, right? Let us also walk in the Spirit. Because the scriptures teach us to be spiritually minded. We're to walk in the Spirit. We are to be as an example of Yahushua. And let me get that. Because Yahushua was a perfect example, right? Let's get that out. Right? The scriptures say that. Let me get that precept out. Let me see if I can get that precept out. Let me get that precept. Here it is right here in Salakia. 1 Peter 2:21. It says, for even hereunto were ye called, because Yahushua also suffered for us, leaving us an example. See, so Yahushua was that example. He was the perfect example for us on how to be in the truth. He even said, those that if you use the sword, you shall die by the sword. The Messiah always was spiritual minded, right? That ye should follow his steps. So we are to follow in the steps of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. We are to follow in the ways and steps of Yahushai. Right? Yahushai was that perfect example. And you got a lot of Israelites that's not doing that. You got a lot of Israelite groups that's not following in the ways of Yahushai. They're not being the example that Yahushai brought forth to the apostles. Right? The disciples, the apostles. He brought the example of how we are to be in the ministry. Yahushua did. That's why the scriptures say in 1 Peter 2:21, for even hereunto were ye called, because Yahushua also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps. So Yahushua was the perfect example. This is why we are to be spiritual in the ministry. This is why we are to examine ourselves. Watch what we do. Watch what we say. Exhortation, right? This is why we have to be careful for the things that we do when we're on camera. It affects the ministry, what you do. What you do as a particular individual, it messes up the ministry. Because now people is going to look and they're going to say, see, that's how those Israelite groups behave. That's why it's not good to be in those Israelite groups. It brings a bad vibration to the truth. That is a bad vibration to the truth. There is no governing instructions with those other groups. This is why it's good to follow great millstone Hebrew Israelites. Because they are the perfect example. These other Israelite groups are not perfect examples. They have you be in the ways of the world and not the ways of Yahushua. Because 1 Peter 2:21 says that Yahushua is the example and to follow in his steps. Because we have sheep that watches us. From Elder Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Gobar, Elder Apostle Rumlup, Elder Apostle Rakah on down. There's sheep that tune into our lessons. When you're at camp, there's sheep that's watching. You're being watched. So when you do things that are disorderly, that's disorderly. That whole carnal confrontation that happened there was totally disorderly. There was no order there. There was no communication there. The Jake that moved the other camp's chair, he should have spoke with them first. The individual that saw the Jake moving his chair, he should have spoke with that individual first. He didn't do that. Jake just moved the chair. Individual got upset, punched the individual. Fight broke out. There was no order there. There was no governing order there. Everything was all over the place. That's what happens when you're not spiritual minded and you're not using wisdom. Romans 8:5. For they that are after the flesh, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. Because when you're carnally minded and your spirit is on a carnal behavior, you haven't transitioned from your old ways. You have not put off the old man, as the scriptures say in Ephesians 4:22, put off the old man. And that's how you can see. With these groups, you can tell that they have not put off their old ways. They still have their same ways that they were when they were in the world. And you can't be that way in the truth. You can't behave like that in the ministry, man. It says, Romans 8:5, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. Right? It says, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. And who are those men who are spiritually minded? The elders and apostles of Great Millstone. You don't ever see that happening in Great Millstone. Since I watched Great Millstone for 7 years straight, they haven't been a confrontation with anyone out there. They ain't punching on people. They're not doing any of that. We always see the elders pack up and leave. When they start seeing people bug out, they pack up and go. They pack up and go, right? When they're dealing with people, they call upon the name of the Lord, rebuke people, right? Cast demons away from them in the spirit. They apply the scriptures when they're out there. Great Millstone Hebrew Israelites and the brothers on down, we walk spiritual. We apply the scriptures literally to our spiritual walk. You know? And Salaki on that. You know, we try not to fight when we're out there. We use wisdom first. You know? Romans 8:6. For to be carnally minded is death. Yeah, being carnally minded can lead you to death. The Lord can send a death angel after you and put you to death. That's why the scriptures say in Romans 6:23, for the wages of sin is what? Death. So you don't want to be carnal. You want to be spiritual in this truth. You want to be spiritual in this gospel, man, in this ministry. All right? It says, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Verse 7, because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh. For it is not subjected to the law of the Most High, neither indeed can be. See? Let's get the main part. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh. You can't please the Lord because you're carnal. The Lord doesn't deal with carnality. Verse 9. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. See? So when you're out there teaching, you are supposed to be spiritual in the ministry. When you're out there at camp teaching, you are to be spiritual. What led the fight was lack of communication. Nobody was communicating. Brothers just resulted off of antagonizement, right? Irritated, right? There was a lot of confrontation. There was a lot of things going on. The Jakes on the left with the guy with the red shirt, he felt antagonized. Irritated. He was vexed, and he let his emotions get the best of him. You know, that's something that you want to avoid, man. It's easier said than done, but that's the things you really want to pray for to avoid. Especially when you're on camera. You're out there at camp in front of thousands of people. That's not a good example to bring to the ministry, man. There's no order there. It says, be ye not in the flesh. It says, but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. Salakia. If so be that the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Yahweh Shai, he is none of his. And that's how you know that those guys out there, those groups, right? Whatever them guys was doing, they weren't following order. They weren't spiritual. They were carnal. James 1:19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. You don't want to have anger, All right, the scriptures even say anger is of the fool, right? If you quick to anger, you're foolish. You know, that's why you gotta leave your emotions at the door, man. You have to leave your emotions at the door. You have to, man. It will put you. That is a bad situation to be in the truth. Romans 15:20. Yea, so have I stirred to preach the gospel. It says not where Yahushua was named, lest I should build upon another man's foundation. And that's what basically happened, man, in this fight right here. ISUPK got irritated. I believe it's ISUPK. I could be wrong. Maybe it's another Israelite group. The other Israelite group got irritated at IUIC because they came on their corner and they were teaching on the same corner. If you're teaching on the same exact corner, it's going to be hard to get the truth out, because you're going to have those guys talking and you're talking, and the word isn't getting out. It's best to take your stuff and go. You know, try to negotiate with the brothers, letting them know, look, we've been teaching here for a while. This is our spot. We're teaching right here. Can you guys go somewhere else? If they get upset and get proud about it and say, no, we've been teaching here, this and that. All right, take your stuff, go somewhere else, and get the truth out, man. There's so much. I know in that city where they're at, there's a lot of space, man. You know, you can go somewhere else, man. Fighting over a corner is going to lead to a bad situation. It's going to put you in a bad situation, man. You're trying to avoid problems. You're trying to, teach the word and go home, man. You know. This is 2 Corinthians 10:4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Right. So getting mad, going up to an individual, punching them in the face, going over there, moving a brother's chair. You know, you gotta be communication there, man. You just don't go and just start a whole entire confrontation. But the guy in the red shirt, the Jake in the red shirt, is the one who started that confrontation. He was just he probably was mad. And the reason why he punched the dude from IUIC, because he got mad because they came on their corner. Because IUIC is known for doing that. You know, and ISUPK. ISUPK is known for doing that too. Coming on people's corners and trying to bully individuals off their corner where they're teaching at. You know, that's not being a man of the Lord. That's why all that happened. There was no communication there. You know, when you don't understand the order of humility, because both camps was prideful. Both of those groups was prideful. When you don't understand the order of humility, that's what's going to happen. Pride, emotions, bad examples. 2 Corinthians 10:4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So when we go out there and teach, starting from the elders and apostles of Millstone first and foremost, when they go out there and teach, they don't go out there with a carnal attitude, a carnal spirit, a carnal behavior. They don't. They go out there, they teach the word. When we go out there, we teach the word. We just want to get the word out and go home. But these other Israelite groups, they always gotta be macho camacho. Randy Savage, be a macho, and that's not what you're to do in the truth. It's gonna put you in a bad situation, man. But mighty through Yahweh, right, to the pulling down of strongholds. So the weapons of our warfare is not to be carnal, man. We are to be spiritual minded in this thing. And I think I didn't get that precept either. So Salakia. I think I got it out earlier, but I'll read it again. Galatians 5:25. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. So if you live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. So you got to be spiritual in this thing, man. Brothers always say that. Brothers been saying that for years, man. Walk in the Spirit. Be in the Spirit. Be spiritual, brother. You got to be spiritual when you're out there. Because doing this right here, this that happened right here, which I'm going to go back to. This right here could have been avoided. All that could have been avoided. Moving somebody's chair, you could have had communication with. Jake going over there punching an individual in the face. Before you did that, address communication there. There was no communication. A fight broke out, which was which was not necessary. All of that could have been avoided with communication. So, I just wanted to do a quick hit on that, man. Do a lesson on this situation. This is a bad situation here. If you're out there teaching, you will want to avoid conflict with anybody. You'll wind up getting locked up, and then you won't teach the truth, and then you'll have all these charges that you don't need, which you can't afford. You don't want to put yourself, this is putting yourself in a bad situation, man. There's got to be order set up. So, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I want to give all honors and glories, praise to Yahweh, Bashim Ashai, Bashim Kodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you, sincere brothers, scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahushai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying, man. You want to be slow to anger, man. Slow to anger, man. All right? Shalom.